Hi everybody, we're back here with another walk around of another 2021 Cougar. This time we have the 2021 Cougar 364. This is a very beautiful fifth wheel. It's one of our most popular full-size fifth wheel models. Everybody seems to love them. So we're just going to go through some of the options. Hitching would be in another sort of video in terms of fifth wheel hitching. So somewhere down on our YouTube channel we'll have another video on how to hitch up a fifth wheel. But for now we're just going to look through the features. So starting at the front, you have a big capacity for storage underneath here. It's lockable and pull open, and it has a clip above to hold it up like that. Inside you've got your tire and your onboard battery. You do have access to your hydraulics for your 4-point leveling system, so if you ever do maintenance or any issues there, that's where you start. But again, you have lots of space in there. On the front of the unit, we have some lights, docking lights. There's a couple of switches right here in the front. We have the low one, and then we have the LED light strips. The other one, which is a nice feature, especially at night in your camp. Gives you a little bit of walking light, but also makes it really nice looking. Turn those off. Another light underneath the trailer here for at night for any accesses. You have your light here as well. Coming down the side of the unit, these have plug and play camera mounts. So if you wanted to buy the camera package where you have side cameras and rear cameras, they're just plug and play nowadays. We pull this tab out, put the camera device in there, and it comes with a little screen that you put in your truck. So they're a great feature. Specifically, you're going to be towing a lot, so let's just see down the side of your trailer and behind it for both for backing up and traveling. And again, they're just plug and play. In this door here, you've got your one side of your propane storage. You've got two 30-pound tanks on this unit. To turn them on, you have to turn, just like a propane barbecue, turn on the valve there, pressurizes the propane system with propane. Again, they have to be full. We do recommend you have one on and then the other. You don't run both of them at one time, otherwise you'd run on propane. This way, if you just run dry on one, you can switch to the other tank, and then you can go fill this one up. So it's off now. One of the big parts of owning a trailer is maintenance of the unit. It's particularly the caulking around all the joints and the roof. All this caulking that comes along here, along the edges, even on the slides here, all needs to be checked on a regular basis. It is RV specific caulking, but it can dry and crack, and you want to make sure that if it's drying out and getting old, that you peel that off, clean that area, and apply a new bead of caulking. Otherwise, water can get into the unit that way. So maintenance is absolutely key to maintaining your RV. The other big one is your roof. It's a rubber roof. This particular unit's walkable, but most RVs nowadays are rubber. And if in heat and dry of the summertime and stuff, they can slowly dry out and start to crack. And the way to maintain that is you buy a conditioner and a cleaner. So you buy the cleaner, cleans all the debris off the roof itself, and then the conditioner adds some. Keeps the rubber pliable and lasts a lot longer. You do that. We try and recommend you do that in the spring and fall, and that way your roof will maintain and keep its life for quite a long time. Again, while you're up there, you want to check all the caulking around any of the appliances or piping and everything that's coming through the roof, just to make sure that everything is sealed up and tight. And again, if it's dried out, you want to peel that off and replace it with a new bead after you've cleaned the area. One of the other things we want to make sure is your rubber seals. You can get a silicone spray for those that we use. We do recommend you apply once in a while. Keeps the rubber pliable so that it moves freely with the movement of the slide. Also, just like that one's folded over there right now, you're going to want to, when you're in your campsite, pull those out just to make sure that it has a nice tight seal. Chances are it's probably not going to hurt anything, but maybe it has a little bit of a gap because it's not sealed out correctly and some water can get in. Again, they're just rubber that moves with the unit, so don't be surprised to see that kind of thing. You just kind of reach up and pull it apart, pull it out and let it seal back to the thing, and you should be good there. Coming down this unit a little farther, we come to the leveling system and the area here for your hookups. I'm going to talk about the hookups, and then we're going to create a whole new video on the leveling system that we'll reference as well. So on the hookup side of things, we have hot water tap at the very top. You have a water heater bypass for when you're doing your winterization, your winterizing. Put for flushing the system with antifreeze, your city water connection. So this is your RV park ground water supply. Hose goes into there, and it's just hand tightened. Don't try and tighten that with any kind of pliers or anything, because it's not designed to be more than hand tightened. If you do see that there's a little drip or spray coming out of that, try and tighten it a little more. So just try and keep that connection. Again, if you over tighten it as plastic, you could easily break that and have a bigger problem. Tank flush down here. If you want to flush out your black water tank, that's where you put your input to your tank flush, just like a water hose goes in there. And I think you've got a gray tank flush as well, just to have both of them there. You're up on this side. In this case, you have a solar input. So if you do have a solar panel that's portable that you want to trickle charge the battery, it's an input there. And then below that, you have your key TV system. So if you're running satellite, either from the roof or portable system, or a television cable from the campground itself, you use whichever input it is, and then the key TV it will sort that out and send the signal to the appropriate places. Obviously, with satellite system, you're going to need a receiver to deal with that, but that's it's all pre-programmed for that. Below it, if you have your battery disconnect. So it's in the off position now, which means that the battery is connected to the unit. You want to use your battery disconnect if you're going to store the unit for a period of time. So if you're going to store for say 2 or 3 weeks, not being used and not plugged into power, you put the disconnect on, and then onto the parasitic losses of the little clocks and things in the unit won't draw that power anymore. If you are winterizing and storing a unit in a cold environment, you want battery out of it and put it in a warm place anyways, so it's not so important then, but more along of a short temporary storage, or in a warm climate if you are storing the unit and leave the battery on, put the disconnect on. But at the very bottom we have the black tank valves and gray tank valves. This particular unit has 2 outputs. It's got 1 gray tank and 2 black tanks. The gray and black from the front area of the unit are exited by the septic system down below there. To operate that, again, you have black tank and gray tank handles here. It's not something underneath the slide on this one that you have to go down and pull. On the back one, which is the black area, there is a valve that you have to open and pull that out to empty it. But on the front one, it's in here. You want to flush the black tank first, followed by your gray to clean out the piping that handles that. If you're hooked up to a campsite, you really don't want to keep those valves open, even though you're hooked up to a septic system. Close those valves. If you leave them open, you can allow septic system gases into the unit, which can be hazardous to your health. There's a little quick connect water hose here, which connects to the hot and cold up above for just rinsing off things. And there's a little handle in the unit, I believe, that will be able to hook up to that, and you can have a spray nozzle on it. Everything in here can be accessed and routed through this little hole at the bottom. It is watertight for when you're traveling, but if you're going to run your water lines and everything up through here, you can run them down through. Leave that open for now, and then they're not exiting the side of the unit. They're all nice and neatly routed up underneath. Okay, moving on this unit, we have the water heater. It's propane and electric. It can run on each or both at the same time. So in this case, the propane system is here. The propane runs through here and is ignited inside the water heater. The electric is down below. In either case, before igniting the propane or the water, you want to make sure, or the electric, they want to make sure that there's water in the system. If you run them, particularly electric, you could easily burn out both the element in electric and the tank itself, and you'd have to replace it at that point. So make sure there's water in the system before you do ignite it. Followed by that, we have the backside of the onboard furnace, so propane only. Same with the hot water heater and this and any other propane devices. You need propane in your tanks and in the lines. Sometimes air gets trapped in there, so when you get to your campsite and you want to start turning on your hot water tank, you want to start turning on your furnace, anything that runs on propane, we do recommend you go into your oven and your burners, turn them on, try and ignite them either by the sparker or by a lighter, and let that air circulate through until it ignites, and let it run for 10 or 15 seconds to purge the lines of any kind of air that's in it. And then you turn that off, and then your system should be pressurized correctly with propane, and everything should operate from that point on. Moving down, you have a very large slide in the kitchen dining area. Lots of space in there, lots of windows. So again, it is a mechanical slide, so they're fairly easy to use with a panel inside. And we're going to explain that a little later. There's the back side of your leveling system, which 4 points on this one, which we will show you and explain when we get there on another video. Underneath here, we do have the backside of the septic system, and as I said before, there's a black valve here to empty that tank. So this one is a valve here, where the front one is on the side of the unit. Again, on this you have two, so you're going to need to hook up some sort of Y piping system for your septic to be able to drain into one tank. Moving down, fresh water. Onboard storage on this. So if this has a holding tank on board for fresh water. It's a little different than your city water where there's no connection. You just take your hose, stick it in there until it fills up, and then it's full. Be careful with storing water for any period of time, as you know, it can get it can kind of go bad. Or make sure your tank is clean before you're going to use the onboard water storage. For you to use this water in the tank, you need to use run your water pump, which is on a panel inside, and then that'll pressurize from that tank for the plumbing. The city water connection, which was up front, has enough pressure in it from the post at the campground to be able to pressurize the system. You don't need to run your water pump for that. Moving around the back, you've got your tail lights, brake lights, turning signals, driving lights, and again on the very middle there you do see the mount for a camera if you ever wanted to purchase a camera for your backup. Really easy to wire up and get in the system. It's fairly close to being plug and play, so good to go. There is a little storage area here. With magnetic doors on this unit, so there's quite a bit of storage. Good place for your power cable, anything like that for the unit. Lock it up. This unit is a 50 amp unit, and you can tell by the cable on the outlet of the cable. The cable itself has 4 big prongs like that. That's a 50 amp cable. So we don't have 50 amp coming out of our building, so we use what's called a 50 to 30 dog bone. Now we're supplying this on this particular unit, and we typically do 50 amps because the worst thing you could do is get to a campsite that you thought was 50 amps and it's 30, and you can't plug your unit in, and then that pretty much ruins your camping for the weekend. So we supply this with it, just to give you that ability. If you are running 50, if you're at a 50 amp site, you'll be able to plug in just like that. So plug it back into the building, and then we're back on power. Walkable roof, so you do have a ladder. Again, talking about washing and cleaning the roof and conditioning it, be careful when you're up there. With that water and that chemical cleaner and conditioner, it gets pretty slippery, so just want to watch your step. It's a pretty big fall if you ever came off it. If you do have a tow hitch on the back of this to be able to put a bike rack or something like that, to carry some of that load for bikes on the back of the unit, or a little moped or something like that. Moving around to the side of the unit, you have your outside camp kitchen. And in this case, it's got a little mini fridge and a propane-driven outdoor grill. So runs off propane. There is a line that you use right here with a quick connect. That quick connect will be filtered down or routed down below into this right here, and that's your quick connect for your propane line. So just plug it in there and you're good to go. And again, your mini fridge is right here, operates only off of when you're plugged into power, won't run on a battery or anything else. So for that to be cool, you need to be plugged in somewhere. All right, back door on this unit has a normal locking system, normal foldable steps underneath, so they just fold out. Again, put them away when you're driving. You got your other side of your ground control leveling system, and another hot and cold running output. Again, it's quick connect, so you have one on the other side, one here. So it depends on what you want to use it for, but it is filtered or run from your plumbing on the unit. Rear slide, a rear awning on this one. You have two awnings. So you have the awning over the back door area, and you have an awning over the front area right here. They operate independently of each other. Word of caution with awnings, they're really made for sunshade. If you try and run it, open your awning or use your awning in any kind of real rain or any kind of wind, it can damage it quickly and easily. They're relatively expensive to fix, so we do caution. So don't have it out in the rain, don't have it out in the any kind of real wind. Don't leave your unit for more than a short walk or something with your awnings out, because you could come back, there could be a rainstorm, there could be a windstorm, and they could completely be destroyed. So just a word of caution on that. Moving down the front, you have the couple of outlets for power. Again, your unit needs to be plugged in for those to be operational. They're not 12 volt, they won't run off the battery. And you have the other side of the storage in the front area. So this unit has tons and tons of storage in there for whatever you want to put. It's just a big area. And finally, along the front, the only last thing is your other propane tank on this side. So again, run one tank at a time, and then refill as one goes empty, and you want to fill up the other one. So, okay, so the last thing before we go inside is I'm going to show you the new stairs on this unit. So we'll open the door. And these are the new style stairs. As you can see, they're not below. They don't hang below. They're inside the unit. Now they're really good stairs. They're nice and stable, and they're adjustable. So to open it, you pull your tab here, grab the unit, pull it out, and let it collapse to the ground. There's a little bit of weight to it, so be careful that you're prepared for that weight. These legs on the bottom are adjustable depending on the ground. They'll slide up and down, and there's a pin right here on each side that you can you pull that out, slide it to the right thing, and put it back up. Now these stairs have been great. People love them. There's just two things we got to mention. One is, if you don't have this stair down and level and below, if you try and close your door when that is not down, you'll damage the bottom of your door here. So be careful that is all the way down before trying to close that door. The other thing is, if you're at a campsite and you're ready to pack up and go home, if there's any kind of rocks, debris, dirt, water, whatever you have on these stairs, when you lift them up into the unit, it's all going inside right in that area. So take a hose, wash them down, dry them off, make sure there's no rocks and stuff on them and everything before you put them away. And you'll thank yourself later, because you won't have all that dirt and everything in your unit when you arrive at home. Okay guys, so that's the outside. Now we're going to go inside. Welcome back guys, we're inside the unit now. As you can see, this is the 2021 model with all the white, off-white trim work, which people they just love it, and it makes it nice and bright. Sometimes the units get a little dark with all the dark wood and trim and everything in them. This one's not like that. We got big windows, lots of light, and plus with that white trim, it just really makes everything pop. So everything right now is opened, but we're going to start with the panel, which is the new touchscreen they've been using for the last couple years. So I'm going to show you how that works. So on the stairs in this unit is your in-command system. So it's a little LCD screen that you hit to ready to get going, and you want to see it, you hit the on button, and you're greeted with a passcode. So in this case, we've set the passcode to 0000, and then it unlocks and opens up. One other thing you can mention on this is you can get the app, that's the in-command app, which is mentioned right here, and everything you're about to see on the screen can be operated from your phone once you pair it. So starting with the slides and awnings, Tap that button. You've got your front wardrobe slide, which is in the bedroom. So you've got in and out to put the slide in or out. You've got the sofa dinette, again, in or out. Kitchen slide, in and out. And then you have your front awning, in and out, and your rear awning, in and out. So you can operate all the mechanical pieces of the unit right from this one screen, which is great. And they're just touch in. So if I wanted to do the bedroom slide, hold that in. You'll coming in, and then out if I want to put it out. There is one thing we have to mention about the front wardrobe slide, is that the bathroom door needs to be open for that to operate, and there's the securing magnet system, so you just want to be careful of that. So going back to home, you can either hit the back button or the home button. So let's go back to home. Let's move on to the lights in here. You have bedroom lights, so that's your bedroom light. Again, they're operational from inside the bedroom themselves. You have your ceiling lights that also have duplicate switches on the wall, and you have your awning lights. So that's if you wanted the awning lights out at night, you can operate them right from here. Put those off. We'll go back to the home screen. The HVAC system on this unit. So you have 2 air conditioners and you have your furnace plus fans. So we're going to start with the front AC, which is the screen that typically comes up first. So to operate your AC at the front, you have the mode button. All you do is touch it, that becomes fan. Now, fan will operate based on the temperature. It's not going to cool because it's not set to cool yet. But if you set the temperature that's now at 64, you can set it to 63 and it'll operate until it reaches a temperature. So it's going to try and cycle some fresh air through the unit to cool it down. Now, if you want to run the air conditioner, you tap this one more time. It's going to change to cool. Then it'll turn on the air conditioner and it will drop the temperature to what you set it to. So right now it's 66 degrees in the bedroom. We're going to set it to 63. So the air conditioner will run until it gets to that and then turn off. The other setting here is you have fan settings. So right now it's high or low depending on what the air conditioner needs. So as it gets closer down to the temperature you want, it's going to set the fan down to lower speed. But if you want the fan to stay on low, you can set it to low, you can set it to high or auto. We do recommend auto, but you can set it to whatever fan speed you want. So next on that is the option just to turn everything off. So give it a couple of seconds, if not a minute or two, for that to actually power itself down and turn itself off. So don't be alarmed that it doesn't go off right when you hit the button. So if we go back one screen, oops, I'm sorry, let's go back into the HVAC. If we go over one screen, you get to the rear AC. So on the rear AC, we have a couple of more options. One is you have the option to turn the fan on like we described, so it will turn the fan on, and depending on the temperature you set it to, it's going to try and operate at that fan speed. Then you have cool again, and again you have fan speeds, so low, high, auto. And then if you're ready for heat, you have the heat button. So it's set to gas because your heater can only run on gas, so you can't really change that. The fan will stay into the same setting as before. Heat will come on, and you will then you'll set the temperature you want your environment to be. Again, you need to have propane in the system for the heating system to work, and it'll try and then ignite and then start pushing air through the unit, or hot air through the unit. You can also put in the option of auto. So if you wanted to set it to, say, 70 degrees or 72 degrees, which is room temperature, and you're in an environment where it's hot during the day and then cool at night, but you want to stay there, you could leave it in the auto setting, which will operate either the air conditioning or the furnace, depending on what's going on outside. And that's it for there. So let's move on. We'll turn those off. The option below is an automatic vent. That vent is on the ceiling above the kitchen. To open it, you click the open button. It takes about 4 or 5 seconds, and then that vent will turn on and open up. To do the fans, it's the same button here, low, which will then give it a couple of seconds, the fan turns on. So now that's how you operate it. If you want to go to the different settings of medium, high, you just let's click it, give it a second, it'll turn on to those settings, and then if we're going to turn the fan off, we hit off. If you want to close the vent, you hit open, which becomes closed, and that vent then closes down. Just like that. Okay, so those are your HVAC settings and controls for the unit. We'll go back to the home screen. We will go to the settings area. So in here you have to be able to connect to Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, set your date and time, if you want to be in Celsius instead of Fahrenheit, you can change your passcode, you can change the brightness of the screen, and there's a few other options in there. Again, you can operate all of this from your in-command app as well. There's a couple last things to talk about. One at the very top, you see fresh, black 1, black 2, gray 1 and gray 2. Now these are all your onboard tanks, and it will tell you your levels as they fill up. So right now they are empty, but as you fill up the black, you'll see that this will change and a line will start moving across from left to right and tell you the level. When you get to close to being full, you want to empty those tanks again. On the bottom of the screen, you have your current voltage coming out of your battery, so 13.8 in this case. Then you have your option, if you're going to run onboard fresh water storage, you have your water pump. You would want to click that to pressurize the system. I don't need that right now, so I'm going to turn that off. If you want your water heater to turn on, you can click water heater. It comes into a new screen. It's set to off right now, but when you get to your campsite, you want to run on gas, you can set it to gas. It changes the water heater to G. You want to run on electric, it changes it to E. And then if you want to run on both, it changes it to both, for B for both. Again, don't run your water without any water in it, because you can harm the tank. Go back one screen, and then the last one here is a quick option for interior lights. So instead of going through all the menu to change the lights on in the unit, this is an option here. So if you wanted all the lights on, run. Otherwise, you can turn it off. And then back to the home screen, which you're on, and that's your in-command system. So it's a new feature that we've had for a couple of years, and people really like it, and it's been working great. So just gives everything in one central area. So I think what we'll do is we're going to start up at the front here with the front washroom, and I will show you that door I talked about the slide. So in the washroom, we've got a nice big toilet and a huge shower and lots of space, which people really, really like this because it's not a cramped washroom, so you have tons and tons of space. On the other side of the washroom, you have a separate door for the bedroom. Now that door is the one I was talking about. It's got a little magnetic system on the back here that when you're going to close that slide, you need to make sure that that door is open. If you try and close the slide with it in there, it will butt against this and cause damage or burn the motor out or something else. So just make sure you open that up and before you close the slide. Into the bedroom. Big bedroom, big walk-around bed. One of the great features about this unit is the front window over the bed on the front of the unit. Not only does it make the outside of the unit look really nice, it lets a lot of light in here. There is a sunshade right here, a blackout shade, that you can drop down for your privacy. It is tinted as well, but it's just to stop the light go in. You have your air conditioning outlet on the roof, and your vents for the air conditioning ducts and everything as well. Lighting on the wall for the lights in the unit, and then you've got dual outlets on either side of the bed, plus your USB outlets as well, which is typical nowadays. Underbed storage, just fold up, and you've got a big area for underbed storage as well. So nice big bedroom. So let's move back down to the main area. So again, we don't have any lights on in here, and it's nice and bright. But if we want to put some of the lights on, you can use your panel, or you can start with the lights on the switch on the wall here. Turn them off. Starting in the kitchen, other than this big, nice walk-around island, which lots of storage, which is a great, great feature, you start with your propane-driven range. So you have burners on the top. That's a glass top, gives you a little extra less countertop space. To ignite any of these, you just turn the burner to ignite, turn this over, all three will spark, plus the oven sparks at the same time. So it doesn't matter which one you're trying to light, they all light at the same. So assuming that ignited, then you set your level to what you want. When you want to turn it off, click it back to off. So these are your three burners, and then this is your oven. So again, you would go to ignite, click that until it ignited in the oven, and set your temperature depending on what you want it to be. When you want it off, you click back. So it doesn't have a pilot light you need to worry about. Just make sure that does ignite inside the oven when you're starting to light that. One other thing on the oven is that you do have the lights that for nighttime lights, just ambient lighting, and then you have the light in the oven going down that way. So close that back. Above the cooktop here is the residential microwave. So typical microwave. It's a big unit, lots of storage. It just operates like any other microwave. Again, you need to be plugged into power for that unit to operate. It won't run off the battery. It doesn't have enough draw there. Moving down, we have the big double door fridge. This is one is its size, it's huge, but also you have these wood covers on it that make it blend into the surrounding cabinetry, which is a nice touch. Inside the unit, you have separate doors for the freezer, and you have separate doors for the fridge. So it's big units, probably one of the biggest I've ever seen in a RV, which is great. Gives you lots of storage. They're just handle driven or handle hold there. To operate it, you have in here you have the on-off switch. So we put it on. You'll see that up here you have a little LED with an indicator of the status of what you're running on and the temperature you're trying to set it to. So right now we have it set to set level 3. You can go from 1 to 3. So if you use the temperature set, you go to 5, then it circles back. So we try and say try for 3, which is your medium setting. That's one setting for both the fridge and the freezer. And then it goes back to the temperature it's going to try and get to. If you want to run on gas, you click the auto gas button here, which will turn, the little dot will go over here to auto. If you wanted to just run on gas, it switches it to there, which is for LP. But we do recommend you just try and run it on auto. And even when you're traveling and you have your gas on, you can still run your fridge. And then when you get to the campsite plug-in, it'll switch over to electric. So then it's just off at that point. Big 50-inch TV over here is just a residential TV. It's all wired into your stereo. You have different zones of speakers. You have outside zones on the side of the unit, plus you have speaker systems inside the unit. This is all connected through the TV as well, so if you're watching a movie you can have it on the speakers. Below that you'll have your fireplace. Now this has a remote and it also has manual settings, so power is here, and then you have a bunch of options around if you want to set your color. We'll leave it on the typical orange. You can set your temperature, whether you want the fan on high or low. Set your temperature for heat, and then there's a timer as well, and then you can turn it off. So you can have light, you can have heat, you can have just a fan, and then you can set it all as a timer. I do like these for those chilly mornings. We don't really want to get the heat on because it's not that cold out, but you just want to just warm up the unit just slightly because they'll throw quite a bit of heat. Again, you have to be plugged into power for that to operate. Otherwise it won't run off the battery. Coming back down into the bedroom at the very back, which is your big bunk room, which is one of the big selling features of this. Kids love it. It's a huge loft area with a double bed up top. There's hookups for your TVs and USB plugs up there. On the bottom as well is a big double bed bunk room with tons and tons of storage over here to hang all your clothes and put everything around. And again, it has the ladder to get up top, so that is a great feature as well. That should just fold out like that when you're going to use it, which makes it a little safer. And then when you don't need it and you want to put it away, you can just put it on there. In the back, we do have a second washroom, which has an access door from the back. It's just toilet and sink, but having the door on the back is really convenient for the kids coming in and out. So if you wanted to be in watching a movie, or you wanted to be in going to bed and the kids are still out, still access the unit while they're still out running around the campground. Okay, let's move back into the living room. And we'll just go down this one last side. So you have your power awning or power reclinable seats here with heating elements and lights in the center. And then you have your dinette over here. Again, this is nice and big and the windows are huge so you can see the light. They're on a dimmer switch for the lighting unit that you just tap it and it just dims the lights up and down as you want to go. They have to be obviously turned on. They're not turned on right now, so they're not going to work that way. So this is the Cougar 2021 364 Cougar. It's extremely popular with us. As you can see, the features are amazing, and that's it. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.